Hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here to have a look at CINEMORPHX from Sample Logic. Pretty cool library. I've just sent out a whole bunch of emails and Facebooked about this live stream, so I'll just hang on for a couple of minutes for people to join us. Now, the main thing that I want to let people know before we even start is that I've got some little quiz things here, and I'm going to be asking some questions, running a little game throughout this live stream, because Sample Logic has kindly provided me with 5 lots of $50 vouchers, which is amazing. Thank you, Sample Logic. You are my friend. And yeah, I'm going to be giving those away to people in the chat room. If you are watching on Facebook or if you're watching on the Samplecast page on the website, you'll need to head over to YouTube and access the chat room if you want to be in with a chance of winning those vouchers. It's only going to be open to people in the chat room. I couldn't really work out how to figure out a way of offering it to everybody who was watching, regardless of whether they were chatting or not, because some people don't log in and I don't know who people are necessarily. So anyway, I'm going to be doing some super easy stuff, and quite possibly you'll be in with a chance of winning a $50 voucher. And I just tried one of the voucher codes and it worked on CINEMORPHX. So that's cool. CINEMORPHX currently $149.99. If you win one of the vouchers, you can get it down to $99.99, which is insane. I think it used to be like $500 originally. Hello to everybody in the chat room. I'm going to be looking over here, looking over there at my multiple monitors, and making sure that I can answer anybody's questions. If you do have questions throughout the stream, let me know. That's really what I'm here for. There's quite a lot of videos online already where people are just playing through the sounds of CINEMORPHX, but I'm here to answer questions, maybe show you some aspects of the library that you haven't been aware of before. I'm probably going to find out some stuff myself from you guys, and also we'll be laughing and learning along the way. So let's see how we go. As I say, I'm running that competition throughout. I'm going to be giving away maybe every 10 or 15 minutes or so. I'll do a little draw where I can give away some of those vouchers. You'll have to email me to get the voucher, but I'll send out those emails straight after. And keep a lookout for that. One more mention: if you're joining us new on the Samplecast page or Facebook, do head over to the YouTube site. There should be a link that I've put there. There you can access the chat page, and on the chat I'm going to let people put their answers to the question as we go along. So without further ado, this is CINEMORPHX. It's by Sample Logic. It is a library that is maybe a couple of years old now, but it's something which is deep, so deep that even I haven't gone into all the full details of it. There are an awful lot of options, over 6,000 presets, a hell of a lot of sound sources, just an absolute beast. $600 it normally retails for, and at the moment it's $150. Oh, something I forgot to mention: if you do fancy grabbing this during the show or afterwards, please use the code in the description of the show notes. It's in the YouTube description, or it's next to the site on next to the link on the Samplecast site, because I do get a few dollars from Sample Logic as referral kind of finder's fee, which is good news. It helps to fund the Samplecast because I don't put any advertising on the show, and it helps keep things pretty cool and independent, and I try and fund things that way rather than having to ask for money from you lot out there. So yeah, if you're looking to buy it, please do so on the links on the show notes. Anyway, enough about that. CINEMORPHX is the culmination of a lot of work from Sample Logic. As I say, it came out a couple of years ago. It actually combines, I think, 3 different libraries in one. Sample Logic are on the chat, so they'll correct me if I'm wrong. But there are 3 different libraries originally, and they've taken the sounds from these and loaded them into a brand new engine. I seem to remember this came out a little bit after their arpeggio library, so it has the step sequencer, the step animator arpeggio thing on there as well, which is cool. Something that I've dabbled with a bit, but not a huge amount, so maybe we'll play with that today. The main concept behind this library is that you have either 2 or 8 sound sources, which is a gargantuan amount. There's basically 4 modules, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a morphing control, so you can morph between them. This is the real simple stuff I'm going to start with, but there's way more to it than that. And each of the modules has 2 different sources, and you can play between them. Get the idea. That's the first one. Second one. Third one. And fourth one. And there's loads of different modulation options that you can throw in, either using the XY pad, or you can set these to mod wheel, control, all sorts of different things. I will cover all of this later on. But basically you've got 8 sound sources, and then you modulate between them, mix between them. There's lots of automation in there. You've got the step sequencer, you've got FX controls at the bottom, so lots of swappable effects. There's even XY pad for that. Every one of these modules can be operated independently in terms of volume, panning, step sequencing, step animating. You've also got a huge range of controls for filtering, pitching. You can adjust the envelope, you can put individual effects onto each of the modules. It's just a beast. When I was tweeting out about this and Facebooking it, I said it was a mega library, and I think that that kind of explains it really, because there's just a huge amount of stuff that you can do. It does look, I have to say, it does look a little bit overwhelming when you first load it up, because it's one contact patch. Everything is loaded within the onboard browser. And it's one massive contact patch that you load up the individual sounds into the cores, and then you mix the cores. So, yeah, I won't deny it. I mean, loading it up like this with all of the stuff on the front page, you're going to be like, what? But what I did first, when I first got this originally, was to just head to the presets. And there's actually 2 different options for the presets. There's single core presets, and these are good ones to start with to kind of learn how the system works, because it just uses 2 sound sources with each of these. So forget about the 4 blocks that I was chatting about before. You've got just 2 sound sources. You can load up pretty much any one of those sounds. There's lots of different categories: atmospheres, instrumentals, loops, percussive, and waveforms, and they are then sub-categorized as well. That gives you a good idea of how things work in just one module. So this is representing one module of the multi-core thing. See what I mean? If you're still with me, guys, let me know. So this is just dealing with one module, and then you times that by 4. Use the XY pad, and then you've got a full CINEMORPHX instrument. But even just with one module, there are some great sounds. Let's have a listen to some of the single core presets, and then I'm going to give away $50 for Sample Logic. What should we have? Instrumental stuff. So it's not all big drones. A lot of people, I think this is just some sort of drone generator, but it's not the case. course, these are all tonal. You can play them across the keyboard if you want to go crazy with that sort of thing. Scott says in the chat, great product. I'm using it to score the new upcoming web series, Two Guns. Send me a link for that when you have it, Scott. Be interested to see that. So you've just got playable patches as well as drones and loops and things. Kind of synthy patches. Let's have a listen to some of the loops. Melodic loops. That's a good kind of underscoring sound, isn't it? Of course, these are all tempo synced. I can't show you the tempo stuff because I've closed that window so that I can fit everything into the screencast, but trust me, everything tempo syncs loop wise. Nice squidgy. Let's have some percussives. So I think there's one shots as well as loops here. There's so much stuff. It's, you know, there's loads of things that I've never even had time to get into, even though this has been out for years. Nice impacts. Let's have some transitions. And now I'm going to play some of the atmospheres. These are categorised into bizarre, dark, mysterious, electronic, effectual, mixed emotion, stingers, and world organic. Look how many there are. My goodness. Of course, I'm going to manage to play the quietest ones that I can possibly find. Shall we give away some money? Then I'll get into some of the detail of why the sounds sound the way they do. So everybody in the chat room, get ready. If you're not in the chat room, get in the chat room quick. I'll give you 10 seconds. And that's on the YouTube page. So yeah, head over there. There's 80 odd people watching at the moment, but I don't know how many are using the chat, so quite a good opportunity for anyone who's in the chat to get this voucher. Sample Hound is here. He's keeping control of my little questions. So I'm going to do a quick question. It's going to be the same question every time, actually. There are 6,000 different presets in CINEMORPHX. And I have chosen a number between 1 and 6,000. And it's here in this little bit of paper. And I'm going to give you guys the time it takes for me to play, I don't know, a couple of patches, 20 seconds, 25 seconds, to guess what that number is. It's between 1 and 6,000. It's in here. And I'm going to say ready, set, go. And you've got to write it on the chat. And whoever gets closest in that 20-second period, I'll get you to email me and I'll send you that $50 voucher you can spend on anything from Sample Logic, even this, even CINEMORPHX. So ready, steady, go. Put your guess. A number between 1 and 6,000. I'll be taking the closest guess. Who just guessed 300,000? 10 seconds left. Play one more preset. So many guesses coming in. How am I gonna work this out? Okay, stop. Stop guessing, stop guessing. No more guesses. No more guesses. Oh my goodness. Okay. Stop guessing, I said. Okay, ready? Let's see what the number is. 5869. Who is closest? I'm going to scroll up the messages quickly and have a look. Maybe Sample Logic, you can you can go through those messages and tell me. 5869. Stop guessing, everyone. 5869. There's a 5480. 5. Oh. I don't want to take too much time doing this. It is, I think, either Mrs. Gumby or David Dumas. I'm going to have to get my calculator out. Oh my goodness. Who is it? 6 Star Rats. I'm 131 away with 6,000. 5, 8, 6. Oh. Could somebody work that out for me? Could somebody work it out, please? Has anyone got their calculator? I don't want to spend all day calculating this. John says Mrs. is the closest. Is that the case? It was 5869. I'm going to take your word for it. Right, I think it's Mrs. So, Mrs. What was the full name? Mrs. Gumby. Mrs. Gumby, you are a winner. Please email me at thesamplecast@gmail.com or ruben@thesamplecast.com and I will send you your thing. Should be one guess only per person next time around. Yes, one guess only per person. Although I think Miss Gumby did only guess once, I think. Yeah. Alright, let's get on with this. I'll do another one of those in 10-15 minutes or so. Well done, Miss Gumby. Email me, thesamplecast@gmail.com. I'll send you your code. So, that was the single core presets. Let's just delve into how the single core works. 2 sound sources. In this case, Mao Zedong and Falling Whimpers. But you can change any of those sound sources. There are loads. How many sound sources, Sample Logic? I know you're on the chat, tell me. So you've got volume, you've got panning. This is for just this one sound source. You've got effects presets. And you can change any effect in there. And you can change any element of those effects. A huge amount of stuff. You can change the velocity sensitivity, you can change the envelope. If you want a really long attack, you can do that. Different convolution reverbs, loads and loads of those. Pitch it up, pitch it down. Filter it. Low cut, high cut. Do what you need to. Crazy stuff. Oh, goodness. You can set the morphing manually. You can see me dragging it there. Between the 2 sounds. Ooh, let's turn it down a bit. You can set it by mod wheel. I've everything for orchestral purpose except of a synth. I plan to buy Omnisphere 2 in the near future, says Mark. Would you still say CINEMORPHX is worth it? Omnisphere is great. Do not discount Omnisphere. Everybody uses it. There's loads of sound packs out for it. CINEMORPHX is more of your kind of inspirational tool. I would say Omnisphere you would use if you kind of know what you want. So you want that pulse, you want a synth line, you want an arpeggio. You can program it in Omnisphere pretty easily. CINEMORPHX is going to be the sort of thing you turn to when you're stuck. You're like, well, you know, I want something in the range of a loop that is melodic, and I've got so many options there and I want to tweak it myself, it's going to come up with some strange stuff and some fun stuff. That's what I would say for CINEMORPHX. And of course CINEMORPHX is way cheaper than Omnisphere. I would say if you're going to choose between one, probably Omnisphere to begin with, but you're not going to get a chance to get CINEMORPHX this cheap in a long time. So yeah, you're going to have to count your pennies, maybe go for both. Anyway, back to this morphing stuff. Mod wheel morphing. As I said, you can change between the two sound sources like that. There's also something called a morph animator, which has presets. You can see there it's morphing by itself between the two different sounds. That is because that is what the morphing is doing, and you can set that yourself. You can just draw into it, or as I say, there's lots of presets too. Oh, that's not the presets. There's lots of presets too. They are here. Different speeds you can set it to. Some great replies for Mark on the subject of Omnisphere and CINEMORPHX. Thanks, guys. Keep those thoughts coming, because yeah, I'm not going to be able to answer everything. So you've got that automation for the morphing between the two sources, but you can also use automation to pan. You've got an LFO there for the panning. Loads of different options for that. Or you can program the panning in the step animator, the FX animator. Down to even changing the intervals. It's just ridiculously complex, and also just very crazy in terms of the amount of stuff that you can do. There's randomization options for almost everything. Pretty much anything which has an R next to it, that can be randomized. So if I wanted to randomize the two sound sources, for example, you just click the R, click random, and you'll get completely random sound sources. So that arms various bits of the interface for randomization. Are these sounds key labeled? They're not key labeled, but they are in key. So if you play a C, you'll get a C with whatever sounds that you choose. It's choosing all like percussive stuff now, so I can't show you, but yeah, it doesn't really matter about the key labeling, because you can simply just play on the keyboard. Super easy. So on top of everything that I've showed you here with the one sound source, there's also the FX preset at the bottom, which applies to all four sound sources when they're going. I'll have a little look at that later, and the step animator as well, which I will go over later on too. I also want to show you recording and playback, which you can do with many different aspects of the interface, including this XY pad here for the effects. You can do it for the morph animator, I think. Can you? Let's just see some options there. There's a lot of things to click about to try and find that. Let me see. Can I remember how to do it? I don't remember how to do it. I'm sure you can. Let me load it up from fresh and find out. $50 voucher would be a great help, says Joe. Yes. It would. I'm going to give another one away in a minute. Oh my gosh, it's already half past the hour here. We're rattling through. Have to get on and give away some more. Keep those questions coming, by the way, if you've got any. Where's the record? There it is. Okay, record. I can record this thing. And I think that should play back. It's been a while since I used this record feature, so let's see. Yes, there we go. Can't really hear what it's doing between those two different samples because they're both quite similar. Crazy stuff. Sorry if it's been asked, but can you import your samples? You cannot import your samples, but there are thousands in here already, and they're pretty well categorized, I have to say. If you were looking for, I don't know, some sort of organic stuff, you know, there's a huge amount on there. It's just a case of finding it really and choosing it. Joe says this is the most advanced contact instrument I've seen. Yeah, it is pretty advanced. It's very similar. I don't know if you've seen the Rhythmology instruments that Sample Logic brought out quite recently, but actually it's really similar to how Rhythmology works. But Rhythmology has changed and sort of streamlined the way that the morphing works. There's actually less morphing possibilities on Rhythmology. There's only 4 sources there, and with this you've got 8. I'm only showing 1 at the moment, or 2 rather, but you've got 8 possibilities. So if you can work with Rhythmology, you can work this, but you'll find some of the controls in different places. Doesn't really matter, won't take that long to get used to it. There's a really good manual. I probably will have to refer to the manual when I get into some of the more complex stuff, but yeah, there is a pretty good manual for this. So that is 1 core. Have I covered everything in the 1 core? Not sure. You can save and load as well, that sort of thing. There are core presets as well. So not just the sound, not just the sound source presets. There's also core presets, which gives you options for loading 2 sound sources and all the effects and everything which go with them. I'm going to turn off these effects at the bottom. So you can see there you've got effects loaded. Particular settings for everything else. I like that one. Should we give away some more money? Come on then. Let's do it again. Okay. Only 1 guess this time, everybody. For anyone who didn't join us before, there are 6,000 presets in CINEMORPHX. I'm going to guess a number. Well, I've got a number written here. Between the number... this is number 2. It's not that. This is giveaway number 2. Between the numbers 1 and 6,000, and you're going to have to guess what number is in here. And I'm going to play a couple of presets, and we're going to do 20 seconds. So guess what number in the chat room is between 1 and 6,000. Please, only 1 guess each. Who guessed 15? It's between 1 and 6,000. Well, it might be 15. You never know. I can't remember because I did these a couple of hours ago. Okay, I'm going to give you 20 seconds. Go. It's a cool one. Loads of guesses coming in. Thanks everybody for participating in this. I wasn't sure anybody would, but you all want $50 to spend at Sample Logic. Maybe spend on CINEMORPHX. Don't forget, if you are looking at picking this up, please use the link in the description, the Samplecast link on the Samplecast page and under this video, because I do get a few dollars to help me out to do the Samplecast. Okay, stop. Thank you everybody, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Hey Morales, first time listener. Should we see what number it was? You guys are going to have to help me because I have to scroll back through all of these numbers and see. Okay. You guys are going to have to help me. Ready? The number was 4,602. Who's got it? Have a look. 4,602. Has anyone got 4,000 anything? Jotty has 4,000 something. Or Mike Albanese is quite close with 4,500. The number is 4602. Is it Mike Albanese? I think it might be. Somebody confirm that for me. 4,692. You're looking for the closest one to that. I think it's Mike. Cool. Mike, email me. I'll send you the code right after this. And the email. thesamplecast@gmail.com. Or you can contact me via the website. What is this crazy patch? Okay, enough of the single core patches. As you saw, there are loads and loads of single core presets, and I've shown you a little bit of how to adjust them, move them around. If anyone's got any specific questions about that, let me know. So let's get on to the multi-core presets. They work in the same way. It's just there's 4 of them as opposed to 1. So a different tab for multi-core presets. Going to go through some of these. Have a little listen. And you need to be aware here that there's your 1 core that we were looking at before. Then you've got core 2, core 3, core 4. And you can turn them on and off quite easily. I've had a lot of questions about CINEMORPHX over the last week or so. People have been firing me stuff. The email address, Mike, is thesamplecast@gmail.com, or you can just go on the website, send me a contact form. Will this system work with Sonar if I do not have Contact? No. You will need to get Contact, but it does work in Contact Player, so it's the free version of Contact. It'll run perfectly in that. So yeah, back to the cores. Core 1 to core 2, core 3, core 4. And these cores are working in exactly the same way, and you can access them all in exactly the same way, although the buttons in the cores are in slightly different places, depending on what you're looking for. So core 4, for example, your buttons open up down there. Core 3, they open the opposite way. It's basically to try and get everything on one screen. I know in the Samplecast reviews I do, I always say, oh, I want everything on one screen, I don't want to do too much clicking around. That's true, but obviously with something like this, such a complex instrument, you've got a lot of buttons to fit in, so just be aware of that. Things are in slightly sort of mirrored places. So the difference here, when you've got all 4 cores running, is firstly, obviously you can hear 4 cores all playing at the same time. Each of these cores has 2 sound sources, don't forget. But you can also morph between them with the central control. It's an XY control, and literally you pull it down to the corner that you want to hear. Now you can do that manually, or you can control it via CC. I have got a complete control keyboard here. You can't see it, but I promise I have. And CINEMORPHX works very well with complete control keyboards because by default the CC values on the 8 knobs at the top are from CC14 to CC21, and by default CINEMORPHX already has CC18 and CC19 assigned to the X and Y pad, so I can literally just twiddle the knobs. I'm going to use 2 hands and sustain. Twiddling the knobs to make crazy sounds. See how that's working? So you can change that if you're running different MIDI controllers. You can just change that to whatever controller you want, really. But yeah, it's pretty handy for complete control owners or anyone that's using low CC numbers already. You've got CC 18 and 19 already defined on there, so perfect. I like that. Question: how is the CPU performance hit when using the most complex patches? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to turn on all the effects, and I've got all 4 cores running, and this is going to sound like an absolute horrific, but let's turn on the step animator as well. It doesn't sound too bad. But basically I've got everything running, I think, that can be running. Oops, turn that off. Maybe apart from some of the individual effects. So yeah, I'll just try and turn on like all the effects in all the different modules. Some just random combination, and we'll see how it hits CPU wise. Turn them on that one as well. No, that one, sorry. Okay, can you show some examples of randomization? Yes, I will. Roman Rickers says, I've been using this for 2 years and the CPU here is not that bad. Yeah, I agree. But I'm going to try and show it anyway. So yeah, all the effects are on in all the slots that they can possibly be. Let's put on a really long convolution. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I've got everything open now. Do some intensive like whizzing between them, and CPU here is under 20% as far as I can see. Can you see that up there? Yeah, under 20%. I'm running a iMac on this occasion. The iMac is 4 GHz with 32 gigs of RAM. So yeah, it's a pretty quick iMac, but it's not by far and away the latest one. It's 3 years old. And of course I've also got other stuff running at the same time. I've got YouTube running, I've got broadcasting, HD, all of that sort of stuff. So I think that's pretty good. Under 20%. I mean, you're not going to have... I mean, this is under 20% CPU in contact as well, not CPU in general. Not sure what it runs at in general. It's saying 83% there for contact 5, but I don't think that could be right, because when I'm pressing nothing, it's playing at 70, 78. Yeah. I've used CINEMORPHX. I've never had too many problems. Of course, you can bounce stuff out if you want to. Somebody would like to hear the randomization. Somebody wants to hear some more rhythmic stuff, which I will do, but I just want to show you how this thing in the middle, the XY pad, works properly. There are some presets for the XY movements. Let's choose another patch for a minute. Got to turn it on. That helps. So this is automated movement. I'm not touching any dials. Completely automated. That's been programmed as one of the patches. Don't forget you can automate these all separately as well as the XY one if you want to, which is kind of craziness. You could do mod wheel adjustments. And you can also record your own movements on the XY to play back every time that you hit the key. So you just hit record, move it around. I think you've got to start the sound first, actually. There you go. Press play, and then every time you hit a note, it will play back that pre-recorded XY movement. Because I've still got all the effects and everything turned on from before, but you get the idea. I'll quickly run through some of the percussives and things before. Somebody was asking for that. These are just the presets. I did some of the single core preset percussives before. These are the multi-core percussives and loops. So these are combined 8 sound sources on each. These are just the single hits. That's a nice sub. I'll play some loops. I'll tell you what, while I play some loops, we'll do another giveaway. This is the 3rd giveaway. Right, cut out the chatter, everybody. We're going to do the 3rd one. It's another £50 voucher from Sample Logic, which you can spend on CINEMORPHX if you like. Although if you're going to, please don't tell Sample Logic that is happening, because I don't think that's supposed to be happening. And if you fancy picking up CINEMORPHX, link in the description, please, because that helps me. I get a couple of dollars every time that is purchased, so that's cool. Another number between 1 and 6,000, the number of presets in CINEMORPHX. I'm going to do 20 seconds. Ready? That secret number is in here. Guess your number between 1 and 6,000. One guess each, please. And let's hear some loops while we guess. Ready, steady, go. Actually quite good, like, countdown music, no? Okay, 5, 4, 1 more, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Thanks, everyone. Let's see the secret number. I'm going to use that for some actual library countdown music. I think that patch, that was awesome. The secret number is 1462. Somebody write that on the chat. 1462. Who is the lucky winner? Let's see. 1462. Who is closest to 1462? Graham guessed 1200. That is 200 and something out. Oh, Mark Struser 1300. And Dave 1555. That's the closest, isn't it? Dave 1555. You just guess, Eric. You just guess the number. I think Dave is right. You can go over. It's not like The Price is Right. You don't have to worry about going over. Is Dave the winner? Dave guessed the number again was 1462. And Dave guessed what did he guess? 1500? Oh, I can't remember now. No, 1555 he guessed, which is just over 100 out. I think he's the winner. So Dave, email me, thesamplecast@gmail.com, or send a link via the website. Get on it, and I will send you a $50 voucher to spend on this or anything else from Sample Logic. And there's no minimum spend, as far as I'm aware. few more loops. Somebody asked for them. This is a real kind of traditional sample logic patch, isn't it? Those kind of melodic, stuttery sort of things. Great stuff. Right. Can you show randomization examples? Yes, I can. I will do that now. Randomization. So that works in a couple of different ways. I did touch on it before. There are elements of the interface that have R next to them. R, 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 R. And all the way down here, R, R down at the FX presets. Randomization on the step animator as well. So when you get into the randomization, you want to be sure that you're only randomizing stuff that you want to have randomized. So at the moment, nothing I don't think is randomized, but I will check. No. So I can press random as much as I want, and because nothing is armed, none of these R's are lit, then you're not going to get any changes. But I can randomize, for example, the XY pad. I can randomize the sources of the sample. I'm not going to do that at the moment. I could randomize the FX presets. I can randomize the actual presets themselves. The presets are not the sound sources, don't forget. The presets are combinations of 2 sound sources each, with all the effects and everything loaded, or I can randomize the sound sources themselves. So let's say, for example, if I wanted to randomize all of the sound sources, I can highlight all of those, but I just want loops. So I could go for all categories, or I could just go for loops. So randomize those, and you see the little L there for loops. So if it was percussives, they'd be all randomized to percussives. Or loops. Oops. This is where I find randomization the most useful, because you can load up just the loops and then fiddle around with the XY control, mix between them, loads of different combinations. Don't forget I'm playing the same key every time. Obviously you can play them in many different keys. I think this is where it comes in really cool. So you can do that with the instruments as well. Or you can do it with the atmospheres. That sort of thing. I forget what are the MIDI CC assignments for the XY pad, says Graham. Would love to control it with the XY on my Korg M3. Yeah, you can do that. I covered that a few minutes ago. You just click into the little cog icon there in the middle, and then you can adjust the XY controls for whatever your Korg has set as 2 like spare dials. You get the idea. Yeah, so that was a bit of randomization on various things, but don't forget that was just randomizing the sound sources. If we want to go completely crazy, we could randomize the effects and the sound sources as well, and we could even go into the individual modules and start randomizing stuff as well, with the effects chains in each module. Oops. Ugh. If I can find the right button on my mouse. Oh. okay. Let's try that here. There we go. Not sure why that wasn't working. Might need a reload. I've been doing a lot of clicking about and messing around, so I wouldn't be surprised. Raymond says, did you mention that you can also record the XY movement? Yes, yeah, I covered that a little bit. You can do that. You hit play and it'll play back like that every time. Graham says it's going down the randomization rabbit hole. Yes, I know. Sample logic instruments are so good for that. I think, you know, some people want loads of control over the instruments that they purchase. Some people want to be inspired, and I think I'm really in the latter camp, because I tend to compose really quickly. I do a lot of stuff for TV. I do a lot of things which basically need to be kind of pulled together in a hurry. So I want something which is categorized well, that I can find things reasonably easily, but I also want something that's going to give me a bit of, you know, inspiration, and then I can tweak things after the fact. And I think sample logic stuff is really good for that. Not every composer works the same way, and I don't think that they should, because otherwise you'd end up getting a lot of similar sounding music. But for me, even before I started working with sample logic on their videos and stuff, I used to buy sample logic products all the time. I have in my drawers a number of them. I'm gonna prove it now if I can find the blooming thing. Oh, you know what it's like with boxed products, you can never find them when you want to. Anyway, yeah, I bought cinematic guitars and a bunch of other ones, and yeah, that's what I use them for. I use them for inspiration, for quickly sketching out ideas, changing it later on, and just getting a bunch of inspiration and using the cool stuff. So let's go into this even deeper, even more down the rabbit hole, if that's entirely possible. I'm going to touch on the FX presets at the bottom here, and to do that I think I'm actually going to turn off some of the modules, just so we can hear what's happening with just one, and I'll also turn off the effects in that one module, just basically turn them all down. Okay, cool. So let's find a nice clean sound that we can work with. Oh, I went into the presets, not to worry. I will do a randomization of the percussives. Try and find a nice, not the effects presets. Stop. See, this is where you can go completely crazy with randomization. I want to find a nice something, just like a kit, just like a hit. What about that? I forgot that the drum kits here are multi-sampled across the keyboard actually. So you do get different. beatbox. Big hits. Raymond says, I found with sample logic that if you find a great patch as a result of randomization, you should save it so you can recall it later on. Yes, you definitely should, because there's no chance of finding it again. You can do that reasonably easily just by saving it there. I've got a load of directories of my favourite sample logic patches that I've either made myself or I've come across with randomization. Works quite well. So I'm gonna just, what should I use? Oh, this is, there's too much stuff. Cool. What about this? Cute. So there's FX presets. These apply to the entire instance of CINEMORPHX, so all of the 4 cores, but I'm only playing one at the moment. Somebody's guessing a number now. We'll do another one of those games in a sec. So yeah, those are the FX presets, but of course you can change any of these effects. You can flick them in and out. So you've got compression, EQ, saturation, phaser, delay and reverb on that particular one, but you can change them into yeah, pretty much whichever effects you want to, using the different presets. And there's an XY pad so that you can also automate some of the effects. That's not going to sound very good on the percussive, so I'm going to change that to atmospheres. So here we go. So I've got my effects set up, and there's a number of different things you can automate on the X and Y axis here. High cuts and resonance, low cut and high cut together, attack and convolution amount, pan and high cut and controlling the high cut on the velocity, and pitch and convolution. So you can hear there, you get pitch on the X axis and the amount of convolution on the Y axis. And you can apply that to just one core or all 4 cores. Obviously, again, I've only got one working at the moment. That's how it works. You can also adjust. You can use the presets, which play back. When you press it, you can record in exactly the same way as you did with the other XY pad. Sure, have some slightly different sounds. That's a good one. All over the place. I like the pan and the high cut myself. See how that works. It doesn't matter if you change the FX preset, you can still use that same XY information. So it does retain that. You can change the speed of that, all sorts of different things. So that is how the different master effects work. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's do another giveaway. This is the second to last one, and I will play some more. Let's do some more loops. They were really effective last time. I'll be like a countdown effect. Okay, this is number 4. Okay, get ready with your guesses, everyone. a number between 1 and 6,000. I want only one guess from each person. And your time starts, put it down in the chat room, your time starts now. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. 10 seconds left. Everyone's really going for it. One guess each, don't forget. And stop. Stop. Okay. I hope this is easier to work out than last time. The number is 2081. Who's got that? 2081. Or who is the nearest? You can go over. Oh, I can see Steve Sanders is very close. 2000. Star Rats is close, but I think that was after I'd had it up, so I'm going to discount that, I'm afraid. 2081. Is it Steve Sanders the winner? Ooh. 2281. Damn, it is close. 200 out, 2081. Somebody guessed 3 3/4. Mrs. Gumby, that was. You've already won your voucher. I think it's Brent. Brent Bolan? Is that correct? He was 2,281. 2081. Yeah. Oh, there's some complication between Brent and Dharma. I'm going to have to get Sample Logic to weigh in and adjudicate that one. I'll give it a couple of minutes for them to look into it. Sample Logic, check that out for me. The number was 2081. Who was closest? Someone's going to have to get a calculator out. So many people guessing that it's impossible for me to quickly do this. Alrighty, I'll cover the last bit of this interface. I mean, I haven't shown you all the sounds by a long way, but let's look at the step animator. So, the step animator was introduced for Sample Logic instrument, which was called, I think it was just called Arpeggio, as far as I recall. I'm just going to double check that, because they introduced a couple of new engines. Arpology. It was called Arpology. Let me get it right. I think that's the case anyway. So yeah. They did this step animator for Arpology, and I remember reviewing Arpology. I think it was for Computer Music Magazine or something like that, and I enjoyed it a lot. Basically, I thought it was good. Also, I enjoyed having every single thing on one page. I always bang on about that, but yeah, that was super useful. And everyone who came to the video should get $50 off CINEMORPHX. Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I think that's not fair for people that have already bought it over the last 2 weeks. It's only on sale for the next 24 hours or so, I think. So yeah, you're gonna have to jump on it. The offer is expiring as I speak. So yeah, back onto this. Arpology was used by Sample Logic. Basically, they introduced a new engine. I looked at it in detail years ago for the review, and yeah, I really loved it. So this CINEMORPHX instrument does have the step animator. It's not, I would not say it's like hugely part of the instrument, because not really any of the presets or anything use it, but it's there if you want to. So I'm going to try and remember, this could be interesting, how to use it. So let me find something that's nice and easy to use, the percussives, because that will give a better idea of how it works. Okay, that'll do. So you've got basically a really massive step sequencer. You've got 4 different patterns at the top here, and you can adjust the velocity, the length, the type of arpeggio that you're running through it, transpose, you've got duration of each individual note, stutter rate, you can turn on stutters for each of the steps, panning, and what does chord do? Might have to look that up, can't remember. I will check it out. So you have to turn it on first and hit tempo 6 so you can hear what it's doing now. There are some presets for this, separate to the presets, separate to the sound presets. These are just the arpeggio presets, so there's quite a lot of them. You can see there, probably, let's see, about 100 or so, maybe a couple of hundred. That's a good way for me to start. I've been informed that Dharma Texter is the winner of the last one, the 2081. Dharma, email me, thesamplecast@gmail.com. I'll send you a voucher right now. So you get an idea of how that works. So you can take a very simple sound, small sound. It doesn't have to be a small sound. You can take loops and stuff as well if you want to go crazy, but you can run that through the step animator, which is basically a massive arpeggiator, and it will come up with some very interesting stuff. Of course, like the rest of it, you can randomize as well. Let's randomize everything. Oh my god, this is going to sound awful. Ooh, that's not too bad at all. I like it. Cool. Try a couple more of the presets. And it doesn't just work with percussion, you've got melodic presets as well. Basically that uses the transpose control and the arpeggio controls quite a lot. We're not in a melodic instrument, so let me just change to 1. How's this one? Nice. Okay. So I'm just playing a chord and the arpeggio is working. Crazy. Stop guessing numbers, people. We're doing it again in a minute. Not yet. You can see how that works. A lot of different ones. So this is what's happening. It's basically running through the matrix here, and you can have so many different steps. I think up to 128, is that right? Yep, 128 steps. My goodness. Move through them with this here. You can play notes. You can glide into notes. You can stutter into notes. a couple of different options as well. I'll have to go back and look at the manual and investigate those. But stop guessing numbers, people. There's one left, but I'll do it at the end. That's cool. Change the velocities. There's also controls for linking things. Obviously, there's loads of different buttons and sliders here. It's a crazy content interface. I don't know who programmed this, but they must have been up for absolutely months. You can link things easily. So you can, for example, control all the volumes at the same time. If you bring it right down to the bottom, that brings them all to 0, and up again, that will take them all to the top. It's the same with everything else as well. So the durations, see how they link? So you can control one or link them all. Panning is the same. And the stutter rate and everything, it will adjust every single one. Now there's a bunch of controls that, to be honest, I have pretty much forgotten what they do. Speed is obvious. Half times the speed, original time, or double times it. You can also do different modes. There's latch mode, freezing. You can randomize the playback as well. Swing you can introduce. You can set it to stutter on every single playback. You can quantize. Can't remember what that does specifically. Not sure. I'll have to check out the manual for that. But yeah, huge amount of stuff. There's also some controls here for using the key switches to jump between the different patterns. Key switches at the bottom. Not sure what they do. As I say, it's been a few years since I've used this, but yeah, basically those are the essentials. To be honest, I tend to stick with the presets so that you can just load this up and go for it. But of course, if you want to, you can literally, you know, make a tune if you want to by transposing things. Make whole different, lots of rhythmic patterns, randomize everything, that sort of stuff. That is the step animator. And I'm not going to go into that anymore because it betrays my knowledge of that. As I say, going back a few years since I've looked at that in a lot of detail. Not something that I use a huge amount of in CINEMORPHX because there's loads of other controls on the front panel here that I've gone into already. So yeah, it's more than capable, I have to say. If you're thinking about picking up CINEMORPHX, please do give me a shout, or just go via the Samplecast website, where there's a link, or at the bottom of this YouTube video there's also a link. What's that crazy one? And I'll be really appreciative because every week I do the Samplecast video show and podcast for free. It's not on Patreon, it's not on there's no adverts on YouTube or anything like that. It's as independent and unbiased as I can possibly make it. Obviously I do have to have the help of sample library companies and plugin companies to actually get me product, but I will try and always tell things as they are. So lastly, I want to finish up with the last voucher. Some lucky person's going to get this. Just checking on the messages to make sure that I've covered everything that you guys have asked. And I have chosen a number between 1 and 6,000, the number of presets in CINEMORPHX. Don't know why I keep saying that. Just think it's rather crazy. 6,000 presets. And you're going to have to guess a number in the chat room. Or some people just joining us in the chat room. I'm just about to go, sorry. But yeah, for those joining us, guess a number between 1 and 6,000 in the next 20 seconds. And if you are the closest, and you are allowed to go over, you can win a $50 Samplecast voucher that you can spend on CINEMORPHX or anything you like. So 20 seconds starting now. You get one guess each. Exciting music. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, no more guesses, no more guesses, no more guesses, no more guesses. Mrs. Gumby, you're cracking me up with your guesses. You've already won. The number is, wow, 389. Stop guessing. Who is closest? Maybe Luke, 317. He said. I think it's Luke. Someone confirm that. Is it Luke? He guessed 317. I have 389. I think it's got to be Luke. Don't see any other numbers there. Luke, you are a winner. If you're hearing me, please email thesamplecast@gmail.com and I will rush you your $50 voucher. Anyone who's won, I should have written them down, shouldn't I? But anyone who's won, there's 5 people. One is Miss Gumby, one's Luke, and there are 3 other ones. Make sure you email me and get your emails to thesamplecast@gmail.com. And I will sort you out with your... Luke Gaddu had 2 guesses. What did he... Let me see. Yeah, he did have 2 guesses, but they were both the same. Oh no, there was one other one as well. You know what? I'm going to give it to Luke anyway. In the spirit of unfair play, I will try next time to get some more vouchers for somebody from some company. And yeah, I love giving stuff away, so hopefully you love receiving it. Just a little bit of fun. Email me if you've won. Thesamplecast@gmail.com. I'll get you your vouchers. This offer is available at 75% off for the next few hours, just literally a few hours. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to do the live stream any sooner, but yeah, I've been super duper busy. But hopefully some people will manage to pick this up at the excellent, to be honest, price. $149.99 or $99.99 if you manage to get one of the vouchers. It's pretty cool. I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and you can argue amongst yourselves in the comments. Oh my goodness, I've created such an amount of drama now. It's not like me, is it? I'm going to play you out with a few examples, a few bits and bobs, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Oh, don't forget the Samplecast is on every week. Maybe not this week, because it's been a crazy one, but most weeks at thesamplecast.com. Your source for sample library news, freebies, bargains, tips, reviews. If you haven't checked out the 2 latest reviews of Genesis Children's Choir and Performance Samples, Incorporated Cello, Isa X by Keep Forest, do that. They are brutally honest reviews. If you want to pick up CINEMORPHX, click on the link below the video, and that will help me make more shows and make more reviews. I'll carry on doing silly stuff like this and strong-arming sample library companies into giving me vouchers. I can give away to you lot. What patch is that? Bye everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your vouchers and enjoy the stream.